Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. This is Living in Jersey. Today, I'm gonna be taking you on a drive around tour through Mendham Township, New Jersey. I've done this for a few other towns in the Morris County area, and I plan on doing more of these in the future. So definitely make sure you subscribe to the channel if you wanna learn more about North Jersey and the surrounding areas, because I'm gonna be doing these kind of boots on the ground, literally you'll see exactly what I see, point of view, drive-by tours. Where I'll add my commentary into the area and kind of my local expertise. Now, to remind you, I am a real estate agent in the state of New Jersey. I make these videos to help clients and to add as much value as possible. So if you are moving to the Garden State, please feel free to call, text, email, whatever is the most convenient for you. And I'd be glad to help you out on your journey to New Jersey. So today I'm starting off, like I said, in Mendham Township. I'm in Jockey Hollow Park, and it's a National Historic Park. There's history back to the Revolutionary War and George Washington staying a winter with his troops here. And there's kind of two entrances to this park. One's in Morris Township, which is closer to Morristown. And then the other one is where I'm at now, which is in the Mendham Township side of the park. Now, Mendham Township is kind of shaped like a upside down horseshoe. I've done a video on Mendham Borough, so today I'm going to focus on the Mendham Township. They do operate as two completely different towns, although they do share the high school when the kids get older. It is an A+ rated high school according to niche.com, and but I always recommend my clients kind of do their own research in regards to those kind of things, just because I like to keep my real estate license and I don't want to be seen as steering anyone in any which way, but it does have a good reputation for the schools here. All right, if I were to go left, that's going to bring me closer to Mount Kimball 202 road, which will eventually bring you to like Burns Township area, just to give you some context. But we're on Tempewick Road. It's kind of got a remote feel to it. And, we're gonna get a very different vibe from Mendham Township than we would get from Mendham Borough. So Mendham Borough, I always kind of describe it as that kind of like beach town in the country, just because of its walkability, kids ride their bikes everywhere, crossing guards to the schools, that kind of feel. Mendham Township has a much different terrain, much further spread out, much more private. But if you are looking for larger house, larger piece of land and privacy, Mendham Township is probably gonna be better for you than a Mendham Borough, should you be specifically looking for Mendham Borough, or Mendham, Mendham in general. So today I'm literally gonna be taking you through the whole entire kind of upside down horseshoe of Mendham Township. Right now I'm starting in kind of like the southeastern section, working my way up to Tempewick, and we're gonna be hitting some neighborhoods along the way. I'll point out some parks and different sights and scenes and things to know about the area. Right now we're gonna be making a right over here on Quarry Lane. And today it's, we're kind of at like the end of March, working towards the spring. Obviously the leaves haven't come full yet, but to be honest, in this kind of video, I think it's actually better because you can see a little bit more. But it's super windy today. It's got, we're probably gonna touch 50 degrees, for the high, but overall, pretty nice day in Mendham, New Jersey. We're actually gonna come up on Mendham Golf Club. It's on this road. I've personally never been there. I don't know anyone who is a member there, but looks pretty nice from what I could tell. I'll try to get some drone footage in here for you guys to look at while we continue to head our way towards Route 24. So as you can see, it doesn't have like a very neighborhood type feel to it. It's kind of spread out. Not to say that there aren't neighborhoods in Mendham Township. We're about to go into one very shortly. We're pulling up on Route 24. It's called Old Route 24. There's another Route 24 in North Jersey that looks much different than this one. This is a 2-lane road. Basically, if I go right here, you're in downtown Morristown in about 5 minutes. If I go left here, you're in downtown Mendham Borough. So I'm gonna hang a left, keep us within this Mendham area that we're looking in. I'm gonna make a right here, and we're gonna be making our way towards the Brookside section of Mendham Township. I'm gonna pop into Hilltop Circle, which is a little neighborhood that we can look through just to get a feel for at least one neighborhood in Mendham Township. And now, right now, we're very close to Mendham Borough. We're just a minute away from downtown Mendham Borough with all their kind of shops and restaurants. Now, again, it's not like a booming industry down there. You've got like a handful of kind of mom and pop shops, some decent restaurants. Kind of the focus of that one mall down there is the King's grocery store, which again is a very nice grocery store, very good food, very expensive. So, all right, so we're gonna pop our way into the first neighborhood of Mendham Township. Got Hilltop Circle here. So here we do have our neighborhood feel. There's gonna be, a variety of styles of homes. I'm just seeing some ranches here now. And typically the Brookside section of Mendham Township is the most affordable. Now, just beyond these houses to my right, we've got Mendham Township Middle School. This is our first built-up house, the Colonial on the right here. But most of them are just nice ranches. All right. Now, if I made a right, you're gonna see more. I'm trying to be concise with this video here. If I made a right, it's kind of more of the same. This neighborhood just kind of sprawls out into, the same neighborhood. It just expands into a different area that's a little bit closer to town. But this is easily like, is it a far walk? Yeah, it's a little decent walk to get into town, but could you technically do it? For sure. Another major difference between Mendham Borough and Mendham Township is that most of the borough has public sewer. Most of the township has septic. So it's just something to think about I have some clients who are extremely against having a septic. Now, my house in Randolph has a septic. And really for my day-to-day life, it doesn't really make too much of a difference. If you are big into cooking, one thing that you might want to hold up on is like your cooking oils that you use. Is rather than kind of rinsing them down the drain, you would want to, I wipe the pan out with a paper towel and throw the paper towel out. Because you want to try to avoid having the oils, go down into the septic tank. Sometimes you got to be a little careful with your toilet paper choices as well. You want them to be, septic friendly. So if you're into like the quadruple ply toilet paper and you are dead set on using that. So we've also got the municipal building over here for Mendham Township with the fire company and police office. We've got the Brookside post office right here. And this is kind of like downtown Brookside, section of Mendham. It's got a very historic feel, very small town feel. And a lot of the homeowners in the Brookside section actually have a P.O. box rather than having their mail delivered, and they actually get their mail picked up at that post office. Might sound inconvenient to some, but from the people who I know who live here and do get their mail from the P.O. box, it has like this small town feel, almost like the people who work in the post office are like family because they see them so often. And again, some people like that kind of feel. So this is the little downtown area here. Again, you got some historic homes, and actually I showed a house over here on the right to a virtual client, and I was just in the house by myself doing, the virtual tours, which I will say I do very in-depth virtual tours 4K video, drone shots of the area so you know you're not like moving next to a hoarder. I'm gonna pull into this elementary school here. Mendham Township Elementary School. I might have misspoke before. I think I might have said it was the middle school, but either way. I'm just gonna do a quick little UE because people get a little weird when there's people driving into schools, which rightfully so. I would want people to ask questions for random people driving in the school parking lot of my own kid's school. But to get back to my story here, I just wanted to show you the rest of downtown Brookside section of Mendham. I was filming in this house and I get upstairs and like the hair on the back of my neck like just stands up for like no reason whatsoever. So it definitely kind of spooked me out. You know, was the house haunted? Not really sure. But it just didn't really give me that kind of warm fuzzy vibe. So I actually did kind of mention that to my client to say, you know, I know you're not here, but I'm just letting you know, like I try to give a feel for all the senses that I'm feeling, whether I'm smelling, hearing, seeing, or feeling in this case. So I try to give the full picture here. So now we're gonna make our way north in this Mendham Township area. You can see a little brook running beside me. We're gonna start kind of creeping up in elevation right now too. But we're gonna also make our way over to some much larger homes. I'd say like borderline mansions. It's safe to say my clients didn't choose to move forward on that house. We just saw a sign that says, "Save Mendham, support the appeal." Now, to be honest, I don't know what that sign means, but it does remind me of the fact that in Mendham, recently there was some controversy over whether they wanted to put this Dunkin' Donuts on Main Street in Mendham Borough. And there was a lot of controversy over it because in that downtown section of Mendham, it's the historic district, and there's a historic society to make sure that any kind of addition or anything that people are doing to the outside of these homes that line the streets in the historic section, they want to make sure that it's maintaining its character and charm. They don't want, you know, kind of a mosh posh of different styles kind of coming along here. So again, people who live here kind of care about the aesthetic of maintaining that aesthetic and that historic kind of feel. So I just point that out. So the Dunkin' Donuts did eventually end up going in there. It looks like any other Dunkin' Donuts you've ever seen with how nice it is, but that was, I guess, the compromise. Right over here, we've got Clyde's Potts Reservoir, and this is actually a water source that's used in the area. And there's some hiking trails that I'm kind of driving past now that kind of connect with the Randolph trails. So the Patriots Path trail system and the Randolph trail system. Patriots Path trail system is very well known throughout this section of New Jersey. Randolph, which is the bordering town, which we're very close to in this moment, has their own trail system that kind of connects to it. I'm a Randolph resident. And again, like I kind of got priced out of a town like Mendham and Mendham Township. So again, if you're looking in this area, you seem to find things that are a little bit too expensive for your liking in Mendham Township. Randolph is another option that you might want to look into, which I also have videos on. So I definitely recommend you take a look at those. All right, still in that Brookside section right now. Gonna hang a right over here on Mount Pleasant. Got another little pond here, and this is one of my go-to bike riding routes. Got someone getting after it for their run today. Mendham Township Public Works. You got some pickleball courts set up here. There's a little town garden there. I'm gonna try to do my best to keep this video to an hour here. but it is a pretty large area. So I'm gonna have to cruise along as quickly and efficiently as possible here. This is King's Court over here on my right, but I'm actually gonna go down the next street. We're gonna go on Queen's Court. Just to give you a feel for a different kind of Mendham Township neighborhood. Cedar shake roof, don't see that every day. All right. You can see the view that house probably has. And as I mentioned, these are very frequented roads of mine just because I ride my bike around here a lot. And it is beautiful, but like I said, you can see the terrain for yourself. It's definitely hilly. Another thing to consider is, I mean, this is almost the beginning of spring here, but in the fall, I'm seeing a lot of trees. And as someone who has a house with a lot of big oaks around them, I can tell you, it's a lot of work to clean up those leaves every single, week during the fall months. But obviously there's options for landscapers to kind of take care of that for you. I haven't quite gotten to that point yet, so I still do the leaf blower and the tarps and get it all done. Luckily, Randolph picks up the leaves in the street for me, which is convenient. So we're kind of heading back towards Clyde Pot Reservoir. Guy getting after it over here, practicing his tennis. I'm just thinking about like fitness in New Jersey, and I think when I've been doing these videos and kind of driving all over the place, I still think that like Jersey Shore area is probably like the most into fitness. But there's plenty of opportunities in an area like this to be as fit as you want, just with the great parks and like these. It's not a busy road; it's a double yellow line, but to ride your bike around here, it's not too bad. Get a workout at the track, at the local high school. Things I like to do. There's plenty of like bar method and yoga and other gyms. I'm actually wearing a shirt from my wife's CrossFit gym that she coaches at in Morristown. So there's plenty of options. All right, so if I were to go right, that's going to take me to Randolph, and it's only about a minute up the road from there. So we're close to Randolph right here. But we're going to start making our way west along that top of that horseshoe in Mendham Township. See some flowers starting to pop up. I'm definitely welcoming some warmer weather here. I guess you got a listing coming down on that road in the near future. And some of these houses over here, they've got a cool view of this reservoir, which makes it kind of unique. And we're really covering like almost the entire part of Mendham Township today. We're not leaving too many stones unturned here. It's also a really nice area in the fall with all the leaves turning colors and stuff. With the reservoir there, it's nice. This hill's fun to go down on a bike, except when I have to make a right-hand turn like I do often, that we're gonna make right now, and then we have to go up this hill, which is a little more daunting. So right now on this road, we're kind of making our way back towards Mendham Borough. And we're kind of at the top of that horseshoe. And we're gonna take a road called Mountain Ave, which kind of like is the top of the border of Mendham Borough and Mendham Township. And cut our way across. So now we're gonna turn onto Mountain Ave just so we can continue our tour here of Mendham Township, or Mountainside Road. And it truly is on the side of a mountain. We're gonna go up Horizon Drive, which I do ride my bike up somewhat often and is not fun in the least bit. But Mountainside Ave, it runs along the border of Mendham Borough, Mendham Township. So we're really at the top of that arch of the horseshoe right now. You got some houses kind of on the top of the hill, bottom of the hill, but all with kind of decent views, at least right now, without any leaves on the trees. But if you like private remote living, this is definitely there for you. There's a cul-de-sac road over here, Glenbrook. I'll pop down here real quick just to show you that there is a flat section of this neighborhood, which I call Horizon Drive. It's got a similar feel to a neighborhood we're also going to work our way towards with Oak Knoll. Dogwood's a road around here. I threw on the max lens on the GoPro up top to make sure you could hopefully see everything that I'm seeing. Since the houses are further off of the street here. I mean, like, talk about location in this neighborhood. Cul-de-sac, flat, relatively flat yard, super private. Except for when realtors with YouTube channels drive down them. Just saw a statue of a bear, which you'll definitely see. If you live out here, I would be more surprised if you lived out here and never saw a bear. It's not that I see them every day. It's that, maybe once a year we see a bear in some way. I will say that when I was riding my bike in Mendham Township, it was kind of where we're at right now. Not on the mountain here, but close to that Mendham Township, Mendham Borough border. I was just riding along, minding my own business, and I look over to the left of where I'm riding, and I just see this massive black bear kind of walking between the two houses that I was riding next to. And I'm not exaggerating at all. It was definitely the biggest bear that I've ever seen in person, whether from a car or whatever distance. But when I got away from it far enough, I kind of turned to look back to see where it was at, and it was crossing the street. And the thing was so big, it almost seemed like its stomach was like scraping against the ground. Like, that was how well fed this bear was. But anyway, there's definitely plenty of wildlife out here. I wouldn't, lose sleep over it, but, kind of at dawn and dusk, if you're out walking or running, or just keep your head on a swivel. They're not going to bother you if you don't bother them. So now we're continuing on Horizon Drive here. Again, working towards that Randolph Township area. As you can see, driving or riding a bike up this hill is not fun. I like doing hard things, so you feel a little sense of accomplishment when you're done. I've been messing around with my camera placement here, and I think I like this placement better just for my field of view from a driving safety perspective. All right. Next, we're going to be making our way towards a road called Calais, which again kind of connects Randolph to Mendham. Also some good hiking options up here. We got Buttermilk Falls, which is not far from here. Not my favorite trail to go on, but it's decent. It's got like a little waterfall. Again, I hope my camera can pick up some of these homes that are further off the street here, but there's some really cool and interesting looking homes. Lots of different architecture to look at here. Definitely wouldn't say it's cookie cutter by any means. So now we're actually making our way back towards Mountainside Ave. We're gonna make a right on Mountainside. I do see people like walking their dogs, going for runs on this road because it's flat. So you can kind of get away with it here. You can definitely get a feel for the terrain. This is what you definitely can't find on Zillow. Another trail system that we just kind of passed, India Brook. All right, we're gonna make our way right. You got Backer Farm down there to the left, which again, another controversy in town a couple years ago is that they were trying to decide if they were going to allow to have a brewery at Backer Farm. And there's a lot of controversy over that, you know, with the added traffic and this and that. So again, people who live in this town, they have a lot to say and a lot about what goes into it and how it maintains its aesthetic and charm and quietness. So for a while there was like signs everywhere that either you support Backer Farm or you don't support Backer Farm, or you want Dunkin' Donuts or you don't want Dunkin' Donuts. People definitely voice their opinions on their front yards. So yeah, we're kind of closer to Randolph in this part, Randolph and Chester Township. All right, so we're gonna go left here on Burnett, and we're making our way over to that Oak Knoll neighborhood. I'll give you some trivia while we're here too. So Abner Doubleday is from Mendham. He's actually an Army general from like the Civil War era who actually is credited with inventing baseball, American baseball as we know it. So he's from Mendham, and he's also known for firing the first shot in the Civil War, defending Fort Sumter. So again, lots of history in Mendham. All right, we're gonna go left here into the Oak Knoll neighborhood. So now this neighborhood, we're kind of, bordering Chester Township, making our way back towards that Route 24 that runs through the downtown Mendham. So we're making our way south now. Again, you're not really gonna find cookie cutter in Mendham Township. There's not really a lot of those like cookie cutter kind of developments. Drakewick I highlighted in my Mendham Borough video, which technically is in Mendham Township, but like it's right in Mendham Borough. You could still walk to all the downtown and kind of have a Mendham Borough feel, but it technically is in the township. But still staying consistent with the, spread out properties, lots of privacy, kind of set back from the streets a little bit, but you don't have your sidewalks. Could you walk here? For sure. Are there hills? Yeah. Like maybe you'll just get more fit living in the township versus the borough. Again, little flatter development here. All right, we're gonna hang a left and make our way back towards Route 24. All right, and as we come up to this stop sign here, if we were to go right, you're in downtown Chester in about 5 minutes. And to be honest, like if you did live in this area, you probably are gonna be going to that downtown Chester area because of the shop right there. You most likely won't be doing all your shopping in King's grocery store. There's a restaurant that's pretty popular and famous called Sammy's. There's like no signs or no anything, but it's a steakhouse that's pretty popular in the area. We're gonna go left and start making our way towards kind of that Somerset County side of Mendham Township, closer to Peapack, Gladstone, working our way over towards that Bernards area. This is like the Ralston section of Mendham. Obviously a firehouse right there. Played plenty of baseball games there. There's a little playground in the back. All right, we're gonna go right down Roxitticus. Old general store there, which I think is not a general store anymore. I think they use it more as like a historic kind of museum. But in this historic area, you see how close some of these houses are to the road, these older homes. Private high school called Gill St. Bernard's is on this road. Really pretty magnificent looking school from the road, at least. They have like their own farm that they use in their curriculum and stuff like that. You can see the ball fields from the field. It's a pretty impressive looking school. But that would be crossing over into a different county there, so we're gonna stay in scope for this video. We'll get there eventually. If you subscribe, there'll be more. This is one of my favorite little spots to ride my bike down. Kind of coming down this hill, go over the bridge. It's a cool little farm. We've got the Schiff Nature Preserve over here on the left on Schoolhouse Lane, which we will get to in just a bit. We're gonna make our way back over here, but I'm gonna take it by some of the mansions that are on this road that are pretty incredible. Again, I hope you can kind of see them from the street. I put that max lens on the camera here to hopefully maximize what you're able to see. Then we'll head up a road called Saddle Hill before making our way back down to the schoolhouse and the Schiff Nature Preserve. Organically grown Peace Valley Farm. And here we're kind of coming up on some of these mansions here. I'll slow it down. I'll do a U-turn. And we'll make our way back to Schoolhouse Lane to finish up our tour. But lots of rolling hills out here. Let's see if I can get you another view of those mansions. I got the trees in the way for privacy, but might be able to catch that one. Next, we'll hop up Saddle Hill. So we're about to turn into the Saddle Hill neighborhood. I actually showed this house right up on the hill here to the right to some clients who found me on YouTube as well. It was a little more dated on the inside than they wanted, but had a kind of cool exterior vibe and a cool pool there, but wasn't for them. Looks like they got some spring cleaning going on. I'm gonna go down this cul-de-sac here and then make a little U-turn so you can get a feel for the neighborhood. But it extends beyond that spot where I just turned. It's actually my buddy's landscaping company, Wicklow Lorano. Does a lot of high-end landscape construction jobs in the area. but 'tis the season for spring cleanups. All right, then we're gonna wrap up our tour today by going to what I think is one of the coolest neighborhoods in Mendham Township. It's kind of the furthest southwest in the township. It's a neighborhood called Brook Race. Now we're gonna take Schoolhouse Lane to get there. Just got a cool kind of feel to it, lots of little cul-de-sacs throughout. But one of the best parts about it is that it has public sewer. So that's not very common in Mendham Township. So yeah, just something to think about. Also has a lot of history with the Boy Scouts of America, that neighborhood, which I'll get into in just a bit. If it sounds like my blinker's going fast, it is. There's like some sort of malfunction with my blinker in the truck, and they said I had to do like an 8-hour reset of the software, which I just don't necessarily have time to do. You need your car as a realtor, that's for sure. Looks like whoever did buy that house did a lot of cleanup of the dead trees there. Trees are expensive to cut down, I will say. But whenever you watch these guys cut these trees down, you understand why they cost so much, because of the risk involved. But a lot of these guys are like well-oiled machines, pretty crazy. They climb up there and start cutting the tree down as they're up there. So you don't have a big like timber effect, you know. Does a lot more damage that way. All right, so now we're going Schoolhouse Lane towards that Shift Nature Preserve, which has some hiking trails as well. And then this Brook Race neighborhood that we're gonna go see kind of connects with these trails at the Shift Nature Preserve. All right. This kind of cool house that was a schoolhouse converted into a house. All right. Again, we're like bordering that Berners Township, getting closer to that Burnersville area in this section of town. Shift Nature Preserve entrance is over here on the left. And then just up the road, we've got the last neighborhood on the tour, which is Brook Race. We have arrived at the final neighborhood, Brook Race. As you can see, there is a little pond or lake. It is private for the residents here. So the Shift Nature Preserve has, like I said, some history with the Boy Scouts of America, partially because of its access to this little lake here and the trail system that they created. I'm gonna go down 2 cul-de-sacs just to give you a feel for the neighborhoods here. And you got Belgian block line streets. And I'm always a sucker for a good cul-de-sac island, which you will get on these. Flower delivery. Not to say that these homes are cookie cutter, but they all do look more similar comparatively than to the rest of Mendham Township, which those neighborhoods tend to have a little bit more variety of styling. And throughout this neighborhood, it's just a lot of these like kind of cul-de-sac offshoots from this main Brook Race drive. All right, so we're gonna hit one more and then we'll wrap up the tour. Again, just to kind of recap, I think in Mendham Township, you have a pretty good feel of the terrain and the terrain differences between that and the borough. It's a vast area. So at times you're bordering Morris Township, at times you're bordering Randolph, at times you're bordering Chester Township, you know, Somerset County, getting closer to that Burns Township, Burnsville area. So again, kind of depending on where your commuting needs are, that kind of thing, you can kind of be a little strategic with that. And as far as train lines go, you got the Morristown train line, which is closer to that Morris Township side. There's also trains in Burnsville. So if you're in this section, you're probably better off going to the Burnsville train than you would be in the Morristown one. So again, you can kind of play it by ear, which one's more convenient. But thank you for staying in this video as long as I have, which hopefully I kept it to an hour. But just to remind you, I am a realtor in the state of New Jersey, and I would love to be your real estate choice and make a move to the Garden State. So feel free to call, text, or email me at any time. And I would love to help make this transition to New Jersey as seamless as possible. So thanks again for watching. Make sure you subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you guys next time.